The modern Democratic Party right now is reputationally in shambles. And that's not me editorializing.
No, it's just numbers.
That's just numbers. It's polling worse than it's ever polled.
Yeah, 29% approve. 50...
I'm going to say 29% is in shambles. Yeah, I think that it qualifies in the shambles threshold.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely does. It's generationally low number, and the disapproval is something like twice that. I mean, it might be like 29% approve, 57% disapprove. I mean, that's shambles.
And there's no clear leader. Right? There's no one to look to say, well, is Kamala going to define the Democratic Party? Is AOC? What you have instead is a debate. Yeah. You have this very, very open pre-primary of ideas to determine what the Democratic Party is going to be about going through the year of chaos of 25, going into the 26 midterms, and then going into the 27 Democratic primary process.
Dude, I hope that everyone who runs in that primary picks up abundance and just takes everything out of it and says, hey, like this is going to be the platform and the message, because this is the kind of politics that can transcend our current clash to nowhere. like the prevention of bad is not necessarily a compelling vision of the future.
What's really important to us is to find a way to get these ideas into the public conversation. If people disagree, that's wonderful. There is no world in which every single Democratic candidate in 2027 defines themselves as an abundance liberal. In fact, if too many of them do, then it will reduce the value of any one person identifying themselves as an abundance liberal. We recognize and are prepared for the fact that some people are going to disagree with this. They're going to want to emphasize antitrust more. They're going to want to emphasize welfare more. And I want to be clear, we are absolutely pro-welfare liberals, and antitrust plays, I think, a major critical role in consumer protection.
Yeah,
they're not mutually exclusive at all.
Yeah, totally.
It's a matter of emphasis. There's going to be people who want to emphasize, oligarchy more and attack billionaires first. We're certainly not against the idea that there are bad billionaires afoot. But to quickly juxtapose, I think, the message of abundance versus the message that the most important thing to do is to name and shame the billionaires is something like this. One of the most important problems that we identify in the book is the fact that in areas, states, and cities where liberals, Democrats have the most power, that's where we have the worst housing crisis.
Oh, yeah. And then Ezra talks about how you have hundreds of thousands of people that are relocating out of New York
and the housing crisis is
Illinois.
Cashing out in hundreds of thousands of people leaving places that Democrats are governing. The reason that San Francisco's housing is a mess and California's housing is a mess and Portland's housing is a mess and Oregon's housing is a mess and et cetera, Elon Musk has nothing to do with any of that. Elon Musk has nothing to do with the housing politics of Oregon. We need to be clear-eyed about how we are doing this to ourselves. And that's a really tough message for people to hear, because Donald Trump is so destructive and is so dangerous. And the threat that he poses to constitutional order and democracy is so...
He wouldn't be in position to be president and win if some of the things that you're describing had been addressed like X years earlier. I mean, that to me, it's like he is president for the second time, in part because of some of the institutional failures. Now, none of us has a time machine, but one of the things I just want to quote from the book, it said, like, the Democratic Party can't be the party of the working class if the working class can't afford to live in the place they govern.
That seems inarguable to me. I don't know how we can possibly claim to be the party of the working class if we're the party of the cities and the states where the working class are leaving. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And they're moving to states like Texas and Florida where they can afford a better life. And in those states, you have much more Republican governance. We should be scandalized by this. We should be absolutely embarrassed and scandalized and angry about the fact that we are losing the working class, not just at the polls, but they're voting with the most expensive voting mechanism they have, which is with their feet. It's very cumbersome to move. You only move when you're desperate, especially if it's across the country. And so their desperation is a deep, deep indictment of the low level of democratic governance in these states. We should think of the places that we govern as potentially being advertisements for our cause, not anti-advertisements, right? As we say in the book,
wow,
we should hope that we point to California and say, vote for Democrats and we'll make America like California. And instead right now is we have lots of Republicans who think they have advantage in saying, vote for Democrats and they'll make America like California. That's what it looks like when you make the places you control an anti-advertisement. And we should hope that the process of rebuilding power for Democrats and liberalism in this country begins at that local level, right? Begins at building power where we already have it, turning the places that we control, turning the places we've been elected into advertisements for our cause. That's the beginning, I think, of this movement.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. Please do hit like and subscribe and hit that bell if you want to be notified every time a new episode drops. Thank you.